And then how this is going to work is we are going to talk a little bit, have a little slideshow for you to kind of walk our way through it. And then we're going to answer questions that you might have. All of the innovation and support team are here, so you can ask questions that are good for the group, or if you want to talk to us individually or set up another time, we certainly can do that. But as you see, and ladies, excuse me, Sarah or Pat or Devette, if one of y'all give me a thumbs up that you can see the presentation slides. Good to go. Fantastic. So we are going to talk about the district strategic renewal plan and the things that need to be updated this year and make sure we're all on the same page. So we have a common goal of April 30th as our due date, and our team goal is to be done in 60 days. So we want to be done by July 1, reading everything, at least giving you feedback is our ultimate goal, but we'd actually like to close you out by July 1st. So with that being said, we want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Expectations are laid out. We're trying to make this process as easy as possible. That way we all can be done July 1st and y'all can go back to getting the new school year set up and implementing those plans you've turned into us. So when we say district strategic school renewal plans, and that's the whole system, and I'm going to call it DSSR moving forward. So when I say DSSR, what kind of feeling does that bring up for you guys? Which one describes you best? Are you number one? Are you sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time? Are you number two? Are you faking it till you make it? Or are you number three, just one big dumpster fire? So drop that in the chat for us. Sarah or Daniel, if y'all let me know what everybody kind of responds to, just to get the mood started. So are we at number one, dock of the bay? Number two, everything's fine, we're just faking it till we make it? Or are we number three, a big old dumpster fire?
I like seeing there's a lot of ones.
Oh, I like a lot of
Dock of the
ones.
bay. Couple of
I like,
twos, some in between.
okay. I like dock of the bay, man. That's right
So
up my
far,
alley.
so far, no dumpster fires. So I'm
No
all about
dumpster
that.
fires. Yes, that means we are still in management mode. We still got folks jumping in, which is fantastic. Hey, Shalissa.
Hi.
So we're just responding to where you are, where you think you are, or where you think you are when you hear DSSR. Are you on the dock of the bay? Are you faking it till you make it, or are you a big old dumpster fire?
Well, it depends on the moment. No, I have a plan, and I think I'm in a good place right now,
Well,
but we shall
good.
see.
All right. All right, Sarah, what else do we have? Is it still ones and twos?
We're still good. Ones, one and a half, twos,
Okay.
maybe a couple of two and a halves, but
Okay.
no threes, no dumpster
No threes,
fires.
no dumpster fires.
Yes,
So we don't have to make any road trips right away.
right.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's talk about what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover the strategic renewal application process. We're going to talk about items that need to be updated, and we're going to talk about all the resources that are available to you guys. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. Sarah and Daniel are checking the chat. They're also going to drop in a lot of the resources we've given out to you in the chat, either in a link or in an attachment of some sort. But do drop your questions in there, and then Daniel and Sarah, if y'all will stop me wherever it feels appropriate to ask those questions, and we will answer them as we go along. So let's talk about where we are in the planning cycle, where you should be ideally. We're in February, so we should be continuing to review and revise the action steps in our current DSSR. Our schools should be having conversations with their SIC about their needs, their rank order. If they're Title I schools, they're starting to talk about how they want to spend those funds. I got somebody talking in the background. Let me get that cut off. Can you check that? There we go. So that's where we should be rolling into March. We should be looking, hopefully setting up our spring diagnostic assessment and continuing to look at our DSSR action steps and where we are as we start to get to April 30th. So that is where you should be. If you're not there yet, we can certainly help you get there. But just note that that's what the planning cycle is and where you kind of should be. All right, so let's talk about that new strategic renewal application process. So why are we moving to the ADT? ADT is not the it's not the service that you put on your house for security. It actually stands for Advanced Data Transfer. And some of y'all actually have rights to ADT and some of you do not. But if you were a primary contact for your district for the district strategic renewal plan, or you received this link to be part of this meeting, then you have access to the ADT. So what, as the kids say, what happened was the strategic renewal application located in our member center became inoperable. That's the best way to describe it. The IT folks used a lot of words that I don't understand. It was English, but IT is a different language than everybody else, and I got inoperable out of it. And so that's what we're going to go with. A district did tell me they can work inside using our template. However, I will tell you, if you're one of those that are using our template and are working inside the strategic renewal application, you will not be able to upload files and you will not be able to submit it to us. So all that work you're doing is not going to be helpful in the long run, which is why we've moved over to the ADT, because it has a similar submission and storage features as the strategic renewal application. And also moving over to a Word document provides you all flexibility with whatever is coming forth from those who make more money than we do. So just keep that in mind. We want to go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid, so to speak, but we also want to give you that new boat to jump into. So whatever comes next, that there's flexibility and you're halfway there as far as getting to where we need to go and we're not wasting time. I will go ahead and say, if you are currently using a Word document that works for you in your district, please continue to use it. Don't think because we've provided a template that that's the one you need to switch to. We're still very flexible with that. So if you've got something that's working, please do not reinvent the wheel. Continue to use what you're working. But if you're looking for something else, and a lot of you have asked us for something else, we've provided that for you, and we'll show you that either being dropped in the chat or we'll show it to you at the end. So how do you access that ADT? You're still going to do the same process that you always do to get into your member center. So you're going to go to the website, you're going to log in on the far right-hand side, and then the next panel that pops up is where you log in with your username and password. You're going to click login like you always do. And then under applications, you are going to see advanced data transfer. Now I will say again that the strategic renewal application app is open. It is still there for you to download whatever you've got on file. That is going to stay open at least in my mind through the summer months, probably till July. And then we're actually going to turn that off. So if there's something you need out of there, or you or your principals need to copy it down for whatever y'all need, go ahead and start working on that piece. But we will shut that application down. But right now it's wide open. So if you need something, go get it. And definitely make sure you save things. We're going to put them in our archives as required by our requirements for archiving and saving documentation. So just know we'll have it for a little bit, but we are cleaning up those files. Anyway, so once you're inside that member center, you'll see the Advanced Data Transfer System, or the ADT, and you'll click on that application and it'll take you to the next screen. Again, some of you that have more rights or have other applications that deal with the ADT, you're going to see several things, but what you're looking for is strategic renewal. Then you're going to click on that plus button, and it's just like it is in any other Microsoft situation. It makes that whole tree, and so you'll click on your district, and then when you click on the district, your schools will appear, and that's how you're going to upload that information. When you click on a specific folder, whether it's your district folder or a school folder, a green file upload box will appear. You'll hit that upload box, and then the next box at the bottom will appear, and it will allow you to browse the location to drop files in there. It is very important, very, very important that you use the formatting that we have listed here and in the FAQ we sent you guys, because the folders are created on our side by the SIDN number, or the old BEDS code. As I'm an old school principal, so I just know BEDS code. So it is very important that you name it DSSR underscore the BEDS code for your district, or the BEDS code for your school underscore 2627. That's the upcoming school year. Because when those things get dropped in and we're looking at it on our side of the house, all we see is a file number and a file that's literally a folder with a file number on it, and inside it another file. So it's very important that those SIDN numbers match. So if you'll pay attention to that. So I'll go ahead and tell you, if we see something in there that says my favorite scan document and a whole bunch of numbers, we're going to go ahead and email you and tell you to change that naming convention and resubmit it. So just know that's very important that has to be done on the first time. Once you find your files and get it dropped into the upload file area, you hit the you'll hit the upload, you'll hit the open button, and then the file will upload to the ADT, and you'll get a green check mark in the bottom left of the box, and that'll let you know that it's been uploaded, and then you just X out of that box. All right, so let me stop there. What questions do we have? Sarah and Daniel, if y'all tell me if anybody's got anything in the chat.
We're good right now in the chat.
Okay. All's good in the world. That's a good thing. We're still sitting on the dock of the bay. That's fantastic. All right, so let's talk about items to update and how to avoid.
We've got one upload each schools into their school folder. Yes, that's correct. You'll click into that school folder and then upload into the school folder. And then, yay, somebody says we've already completed all of our 75 updated school plans in the portal. Hopefully she's talking about ADT, but not sure if it will save.
If you'll admit who you are, and we'll get you to your contact person, and we'll work through that.
Catherine Gare, not sure if I said
Charleston.
that last name correctly.
I think she's out of Charleston.
Okay, and we've got how can we access from last year's plan? So you can still log into the strategic renewal portal. The problem is when you input and try to save things, it does not save or send that to us, but you can still access the plans that are in there right now. Okay. All the pieces are uploaded as one document or a separate signature page. So they would all be uploaded as one document. There is in the FAQs that was attached to the email that sent out a tutorial on how to do the signature page and put an image back into the uploaded one document. So if you need any help with that, certainly reach out. We've got, so we can convert our PDF file into a Word doc and then upload that doc as we normally would. You can upload as a PDF as well. So whatever you're working in.
Save yourself a step and just upload it as a Word document.
So Catherine is stating that they have everything in the state portal. Catherine, we'll get whoever your education associate assigned to you reach out to you, because it won't do correctly in the portal. So it'll have to be moved over. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, CR, or not.
Yeah, we'll get your education associate to reach out to you.
We've got, how about the district plan? Just upload the district folder that houses the schools. Yes, so that's where you would put your district plan. Dee Dee, the email that CR had sent that had attachments of like the one upload files, the FAQs. If you didn't receive that, I know I'm your ed associate. I can reach out to you and send everything to you, but Daniel just dropped the FAQs that I was referring to as well.
We're good to go, Sarah?
I think we're good to go so far.
Okay.
We're going to begin dropping lots of things in the chat as well.
All right, so let's go to item number 2 for us, how to avoid, things to update and how to avoid constant revision. So like we said, like I said earlier, our goal is to be done in 60 days. We would love to have everybody closed out by July 1, which means you get the magic letter that says you did a great job and we're done. Dragging on to August, September, October, November is not a goal of ours. We're trying to get everything done in one-stop shop. So hopefully y'all take some notes on what constantly gets kicked back and what causes revisions. Again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. It is a task of who can pay attention to the details the best, because it's in the details that matter, and that's what causes the kickback. So let's talk about it. All right, so here are the required pieces. We didn't make this up. This is in state law and it's in our regulations. So you have to have a signature page. You have to have assurances. You have to have stakeholder involvement. You have to have a comprehensive needs assessment. You've got to have an executive summary. You've got to have performance goals, the interim performance goals, strategies and actions, and an evaluation of the strategies.
CR,
All right, so,
CR, your presentation is not up.
Uh-oh.
It's up for me.
I can see it as well.
I can see it.
Oh, okay.
All right, so at the bottom of these slides, everything that has a big old green check mark in the bottom right-hand corner is something you actually have to touch. So that's by design. So the first thing you actually have to touch is the signature page. This is the hardest part because trying to get that sweet superintendent and board chair in the same room to sign papers is a challenge. Don't worry, we were all school principals and Pat was a superintendent, so he can probably tell you it was hard to get him pinned down and in a room to sign papers. But what we're looking for as far as the dates go is somewhere between January 1st and April 30th of 2026. Can it happen on a Saturday when there's a board workshop? Absolutely. The dates have to be somewhere between January 1st and April 30th. Does the superintendent's signature and the board chair's signature and everybody else in between have to be the same signature and date? Nope. We're looking for dates between January 1st, April 30th of 2026. So however you make that happen, we're good with it. But that's the major reason it gets returned, because it's the first piece of paper we see. All right, assurances. I would love the assurances to be a whole lot smaller. That's a task for next year. Unfortunately, that's a task that has to go upstairs and be reviewed by people who make more money than me. But unfortunately, the assurances are the longest part, I feel, of this whole document. But they have to be checked. So district, your early childhood centers, your primary schools, your elementary schools, and your K-12 schools. All of the assurances down that page are checked yes, because all of them apply to those entities. Middle school, high school, CTE, they're all going to check. They're going to check them all but 3. They are not going to check the academic assistance for pre-K through 3. They are not going to check half-day child development, and they are not going to check developmentally appropriate curriculum for pre-K through 3, because those 3 items don't apply to middle school, high schools, and CTEs. So that also gets us hung up in the assurances. So make sure that you check those. I know sometimes our principals get click happy and they just click down a page and get interrupted and not know where they are, but there are 3 things they should not check. But again, district office, early childhood, primary, elementary schools, and if you've got a K-12 school, all of those assurances have to be checked. All right, comprehensive needs assessment, the good old CNA. You'll see there's not a green.
We've got a question here. Academic assistance 4 through 12 has to be checked for primary.
If they are the academic assistance is for pre-K through 3, that line is.
I think there's a second one that's 4 through 12.
Is there a 4 through 12? Then the 4 through 12 needs to be checked for the elementary and the where it's applicable, and then of course the middle and the high.
If they have 4th graders, yes.
Yes. All righty, so back to the comprehensive needs assessment. You see there's not a green check mark there. That's for a reason. You shouldn't have to do any adjustments to that comprehensive needs assessment. You should touch it every 5 years when you do a initial, but not on the in-betweens unless something majorly changes. So let's start at the top. We will no longer be accepting a link to your school report card as the comprehensive needs assessment. So if you're doing that, or if one of your schools is doing that, it's going to get kicked back. You actually need to put your information in there. The data should include areas from various district assessments, including the school's report card, academic achievement. You got to have an academic achievement goal. You've got to have an academic achievement goal. You've got to have a teacher admin quality goal, and you've got to have a school climate goal. Any of these things fit in those three areas: academic achievement, of course, the graduation rate, any subgroup achievement that you need to deal with, attendance and discipline is your school climate goal. But these are the things that need to be in your comprehensive needs assessment. Look at all the available data. Don't just look at your school report card. What does your iReady score say at the benchmarks? If you've got any CFAs, what does that say? There's lots of data points you have available to you. The report card's not the be all end all. And also, guys, think about this. If I wanted your school report card, I can go next door and go get it. We really want to see where y'all have done a deep dive on the comprehensive needs assessment. And again, you should not be updating this unless you're making significant changes during an update. This should stay pretty consistent. Now, for those that everybody receives title funds, so district office folks, your comprehensive needs assessment, if you do this one right, you can include what you need for the title funds as well. Include all that information. That way, when you have to do your title plans, all you're doing is copy and pasting the comprehensive needs assessment from this DSSR into GEMS. It should be the exact same thing. There's no reason to do double work. So if your superintendent and the cabinet are sitting in one area and they are writing the DSSR, y'all actually all need to be together, because this is the part that we're talking about when you fund the plan. This is the plan we're talking about that needs to be funded. So y'all need to really be in the same room when you have this conversation. Executive summary, that may be one you need to touch. And only because if you're making any changes to the goals or strategies within the plan. So we've talked to a lot of districts this year about what you can and can't change. A lot of it you can change. So if something's not working, tell us it's not working. If you are switching from map testing going into iReady and you want to know how to tell us, the executive summary is where you tell us that has happened. That is your conversation from you guys to the readers of the plan, to us, to your stakeholders, to anybody. So that's where you want to spell out things that have changed. You also want to talk about explaining your data, possible root causes. This is where all that conversation takes place. But again, you don't want to change it if you don't have to, but if there's some things that need to be changed because it's not working, or you're changing a vendor that you've got listed out in your goals and strategies further down, this is where you'll want to make that change at. Performance goals. Performance goals shouldn't be touched. They should stay the same. These are your big overarching goals. Remember, they're academic, teacher, admin, quality, and school climate for your schools. District, you have to add the GT goals in there as well, and then any other priorities the district has. Let me go back one. Your interim goals, your data updates, that does have to be touched. So you will need to make sure you need to update your data points in there for however you have it listed out. That'll get you kicked back to, I'm sorry I didn't include that slide, but that will get you kicked back because you didn't update your data points. That often gets forgotten about by our principals, so make sure you check behind them. The proficiency-based system, that has to be updated every single year. If you are a initial plan, then you will do the PBS initial plan. If you are in your update years, and you're going to do the PBS evaluation. That is a live link to FormStack. We will drop this presentation in the chat for you. You can also find it on our webpage, but it's not included in the DSSR anymore. It is done through the FormStack. So the new questions, so if gotten away with, or somehow you've slipped through the cracks of not getting to an evaluation, you need to make sure you do this, or that'll get you kicked back.
Yeah, we do have a question that popped
Okay.
in. Do we have to make any updates to the dates for data in the executive summary or just in the performance goals section?
Just in the performance goals section. And then if they've changed it, like if they want to add new data, then yeah, they're adding new data, and yes, they need to tell us about it. Anything else?
That's all right now.
Okay. All right, got a good stopping point, so let the questions in the chat begin. Hearing none. All right, so let's talk about the resources that are available to you. So hopefully Daniel and Sarah have been dropping them in the chat. So
we do have a
Okay.
couple questions popping through.
Good.
Will schools upload a new comprehensive needs assessment each year?
No, not unless something has significantly changed. And what I mean by significantly changed, new superintendent, who's got a whole new vision for things, that might change it. Maybe you've gone from, there's some districts that have consolidated schools, maybe 3 schools into one. I know one district has just consolidated this school year with 3 of their elementary schools into one. They would need to redo their comprehensive needs assessment, but not a real reason to touch it unless something major has happened.
Okay, next question. If we've been using the report card links in the needs assessment section, how do we proceed with updating that information?
So unfortunately, you're going to be one of those that has to do the writing. Y'all are going to have to write that out instead of just dropping that link.
Okay, next question. If we're in the last year of our cycle, do we need to do a CNA this year or do we wait until next year?
So when is the initial due?
My understanding in reading this, it would be next year.
You'll do the new CNA with the new initial.
All right. Next question. Can you share again how we know which proficiency-based plan application to select? Is it every
Sure.
2 years it is evaluated?
No, it is evaluated every year. Good question. You do an initial plan at the start of your initial DSSR. You start an initial PBS plan. It is good for the life of the DSSR plan. So it's good for 5 years. So in those in between years, those update years on your DSSR, you're going to do the evaluation to that PBS.
Okay. What do schools do if they would like to discontinue a goal?
They are going to get rid of it, write a new one, but then in their executive summary, they're going to write an explanation why they've gotten rid of that goal. Either they've met it or it doesn't function for them for whatever their reasons are.
And then the next part, I think, is just a comment. We've been doing the needs assessment in the executive summary part.
Yeah, the executive summary part is just a conversation between the executive, whether it's the superintendent or the principal, to the readers, whether it's us or the stakeholders. So that's where that conversation takes place if you want to make any of those changes.
And I think this is kind of a continuation here as well. We've been using the executive summary as our comprehensive needs assessment. We update it each year and analyze goal. Can we continue to do this?
I'm curious, what are you putting in your comprehensive needs assessment section? You just duplicating the information?
Not sure. She might be typing, so we can
Okay.
come back to that. We do have a question. If a goal is met, do we need a new one or continue monitoring to ensure it continues to be met?
I'm going to leave that up to you and your district to decide. Eric's giving me a love note over here. I'm going to leave that up for you and your district to decide. It depends, honestly, it depends where you are in your cycle. If you've met the goal, fantastic. You can mark off that you've met the goal. If you want to add something midstream because that goal was done quickly and you want to move ahead, feel free. Continue to monitor it. You can write that in your executive summary. Hey, we met this goal. We're going to continue to monitor it to the end of this life cycle, and then we're going to rewrite them when we write our new initial.
And following back up about the executive summary and the CNA, she stated they would put additional data points in school data dashboards.
All right, say that again. I'm sorry.
So this was a follow-up comment about using the executive summary as their CNA and updating it each year and continuing to do that. She stated they would put additional data points and school data dashboards. That's what they would put in those areas.
I'm okay with that. If that's what y'all choose to do, that's okay.
Theirs
Hey,
are different for Charleston County. They do have the data pieces for the comprehensive needs assessment and then the conversation in the executive summaries. I also wanted to add the question in reference to if a goal has been met. Because we do the projection for 5 years, just because it's met this year don't mean it may be met next year. So I think you need to continue to look at that as well.
All right, and then a couple of other things. Another comment, we have always updated the CNA and executive summary each year to reflect updated data. Just a comment there. And then, yes, Audrey, this is recorded and will be sent out.
Yeah, you certainly can. But just remember, your comprehensive needs assessment is the reason why you're doing the goals and the strategies you've got listed in the back of the plan. So my thought would be, if you're changing your comprehensive needs assessment, did your goals and your strategies need to change to reflect what y'all found out about yourselves in the comprehensive needs assessment? My thoughts are usually not in 5 years. It takes, when you implement a new strategy or a new program or whatever it is you're doing, it's going to take 2 to 3 years to get it going in the right direction. So 5 years is a good spot to see, hey, is it working? Is the medicine working for our kids, or do we need to change the prescription? So that's certainly up to you. For those who are time strapped or have a different philosophy about it, it doesn't have to be touched every single time, but only as need be. So wanted to give you permission to take some stress off yourself. But if that's what your district standard is that y'all address it every single year, then that's what your district chooses to do. But we're giving you permission not to have to do it as often, except on the every 5-year mark. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody. Let's get going. Any more questions, Sarah, before I?
Yes, I realized I was
Okay.
talking and had my mic up.
Okay.
There is a statement here, I'm confused. In the old template, the executive summary is called as below, and the needs assessment data are graphs and charts.
Yes, the needs assessment data was graphs and charts, usually an explanation of what it was. And then the executive summary was the deeper dive.
All right, and then we have another question. Do the updates for the data have to be for each grade level or overall? I think that's supposed to say data. For example, SC Ready data updated for 3 through 5 or for each grade level?
It depends how it's written in your goal. For districts, you are probably using larger chunks. It would make sense to have 3 through 5, 6 through 8 in your EOC scores. The schools, it's in their benefit, and we've said this in a lot of our trainings, to actually use by grade level, because that's the data they have in hand. Think of it this way, and this was a mistake. This is something I learned as an administrator. I was spending hours converting data that was given to me by grade level into a larger 6 through 8 chunk. When we sat here and had this conversation, it's like, that makes no sense. Why are we not just using the data that's in our hands? Why am I converting it to look some other different way, and only to get up here and discover, I don't know why I did it. We don't have a rule on why it's chunked together the way it is. So my comment to you is, let's use the data that's in hand. Let's not make this process harder. Let's be smarter about it. So district office folks, your stuff is probably going to be chunked into larger grade bands. For your schools themselves, they need to use the data that's right in front of them. So if they're using iReady or MAP and it's already in the grade bands, report it that way. There's no reason to reinvent that wheel. Any others, Sarah?
That's it right now. Oh,
Okay.
just kidding. One popped in. And the goals can be grade level specific. So would you report it that way?
Yes, if the goal is, if the overarching performance goal is grade level specific, then yes, the data needs to be reported that way. And we have lots of shortcuts. We have some, for those of us who've had this out to your district, you know what I'm talking about, where we showed you the current practice and then a new way of thinking about it and breaking it apart by grade band, and tracking what we call chasing the cohort, where you follow, and I'm gonna speak from the middle school standpoint because that's what I know. But chasing my sixth graders from sixth grade to seventh grade and seventh grade to eighth grade, instead of making a sixth grade goal and the kids that come in with different data start points, chasing that group across the 5 years. That way you're actually seeing growth. Then you can start to target where the problem is. Is it sixth grade, or is it sixth grade grows them, seventh grade they slide back, and eighth grade pulls all the weight at the end? It really helps you do a better dive if you spread out those grade levels. And we certainly, your ed associate can talk to you about that and more about that, chasing the cohort model that works for elementary, middle, and believe it or not, high school. So if that's something you want to talk to us further about, we'll be glad to show you what that is. It's also in our template. Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also in our template, kind of organized that way if that's something you want to do.
And then we have a question here for multi-district CTE centers. Do we analyze each school's report card data along with our CTE data, or just CTE data?
Again, I'm gonna say, look at all your data points. And it really depends what you've got going on at those schools. If you've got, I know CTE centers have some traditional classes being taught in those buildings because of scheduling. So if that data is reflected back on the CTE center, you may need to look at it. But you can certainly look at your CTE data. You've got all these things in front of you. There's not one data point that we can say, yes, that's good. No, that's not good. Look at everything that's in front of you and make a good decision based on it. All right, I'm gonna hit the forward button. All right, so let's talk about our resources. And certainly we'll continue to take the questions in the chat. So on our state webpage, and again, these are live links as well, we have created a district strategic plan. So for those of you looking for a new way of doing it, there is a district strategic plan. It is what we call the one-stop shop, the one upload. It has your signature page. It has all the included requirements on the inside. It also includes, this is the good part, includes the GT tables, so you're no longer pulling that from another place. It also includes the summer school identification form. We've cleaned that up. The guy who reads all that said a lot of this information can go, so we've cleaned that up for you. And we've also put a checklist for the district plan at the end, to make sure that you've got all the parts and pieces, because you'll work on it, then a meeting comes up, a call comes in, and you have to stop, start and stop. That checklist will make sure you haven't missed anything along the way. Same thing for your school renewal plans. For those sweet little principals, you know which one I'm talking about, that sometimes just can't get it over the finish line. Theirs is also a one upload. So theirs will look a tad bit different from yours. Their assurances are a little bit smaller. They don't have the GT because that doesn't apply to them. The summer school piece isn't in there because that doesn't apply to them. That's a district, but they have all the necessary pieces in theirs. And they also have a checklist at the end of their plan that they should be checking off that they've done all the pieces inside. And then we also have a comprehensive checklist, which isn't on here, but we did send it out in our email, and that's the one for the whole entire system. So if you're listening to this is your checklist to make sure your district plan is where you've got all the parts and pieces for it and everything it needs, and that's all you checked off all of your schools. It's also make sure that you check off your PBS and your waivers, and it's just a long checklist for the whole entire system to make sure you have everything. Because again, the goal is to be done one time by July 1st. So we want to make sure that we've done everything on our end to make that you've checked off all the parts along the way, so we're not having to do back and forth. You need a revision, you forgot this piece. We can get it done in one step. Also, we have the proficiency-based systems manual. So if you're not sure what PBS is or what you can and can't do inside PBS, there's a manual for you. I think it's about a 10-page document, tells you what you can and can't do. Or all else fails, we're having a meeting, I think it's with Dorchester 4 on Friday. If you'd just like to set up a call and go through your wish list, that's probably the best way to go about it. Then we can talk about yes and no, because without knowing what your vision is and what you would, if it was a perfect world, what you would like to have, I can't say a yes or no one way or the other, because everybody's got different issues they're trying to resolve. Speaking of that, world language guidance. So several of y'all have asked about, PBS in a world language. So we have come up with guidance for that to make that whole process easier. So if you're wanting to add world language and give those kids that are coming in that know another language credit for what they already know, and possibly adding something to the transcript and skipping them up to maybe Spanish 2 or 3 because they've already mastered can already show they're proficient at the basic language, then there's certainly a way to go about doing that. What we're saying through that world language guidance document is that if you align to what we have, it'll make your PBS go through a lot faster. If you want to be more rigorous than that, you certainly can. You'll have to do a little more work, but this is the baseline that you need to get to with it in order to get your world language through the PBS system. Again, we've also got the summer school identification sites if you need it, if you're using your own template, but you need to add that back in. And then, of course, we also have the innovation station. Devetter, I'm going to turn that over to you for a second and let you tell us about the innovation station. You're on mute, love.
So the Innovation Station is a portal that was created a few years back. We cover the topics of comprehensive improvement planning, evidence-based intervention, teaching students in poverty, and then we have a resource library. In our resource library, we target audiences such as district administrators, school administrators, as well as teachers, and we're talking about topics as far as educational organizations, our federal and state programs that we have available with the agency. We get into social emotional learning with specific content information, as well as educational technology and virtual instruction. And that resource library is searchable by whichever topic you choose to use.
Thanks, Devetter.
CR, we do have a question that's come through.
Absolutely.
Who gives access to the strategic renewal folder in ADT, and can more than one person in a district have access?
Absolutely. So what we have done from this level is we have given access to everybody that has been labeled a primary contact in DIMS. So that is where y'all put in who's got what roles. So we have gone through, and if you're on this call, then you've got access to it. If you don't, please reach out to your ed associate and we will get that changed. Now, if you want to add people so your schools do their own work, you certainly can. You're going to need to reach out to your web, what they call it, the web access control guy. That's the person who goes in, the IT person that goes in and does all the who has what roles and DMs and so forth. So that's the person you're going to reach out to. We're not going to do that from our side of the house because I don't know who's a principal and who's not a principal, or whoever you want to give access to. So we've only granted it to district level folk, and if they want to give it to their school level, they just need to reach out to their IT person, and that they can make that happen.
All right, and we have another question. If the only thing we're changing in our proficiency plan is adding proficiency based on prior knowledge for world language, do we need a new initial plan?
No, you do not. You do want to reach out to Daniel Bailey. He is going to be your new PBS guy. And reach out to him and let him know it's coming. That way, when it comes through, he'll know to look for it, because we'll want to pull that and make sure that we run it through our world language folks and make sure that it's where it needs to be for the content knowledge piece. But no, you do not. You can add it at, there's a bottom section. I've forgotten what number the question is, but the last one is any updates or changes since your initial plan, and that's where you'll put that information in. But also reach out to Daniel so he can help guide you through that process.
All right. If we have a school that is closing at the end of 25-26, how do we close their 5-year plan? Do we need to do an update this year?
So you will, yes, you will update this year's plan and close them out. And if they're closing and they're not going anywhere else for whatever those reasons are, whatever you're doing, then that school just kind of goes away. But you'll want to put that in the executive summary, that the school is closing, being consolidated, whatever it is doing, put that in the executive summary so that we know this is what's happening.
And then since we're towards the end of the presentation, I also wanted to say we're having a little difficulty of uploading this presentation. I know, as I promised earlier, so we're going to email it out once the meeting is over to all the contacts. And will you be sharing the recording of this call?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
We actually are going to put it on our website for you all to access.
Yep. Oh, and the links in the chat do not seem to work. Okay, so we will put those in the email as well.
Nothing like technical difficulty
I love
first thing
it.
in the morning. Oh, nothing like it.
You'll just
All right,
have
what
that
else?
email will be your one-stop shop.
All righty. All right, so this is our gorgeous, handsome team. Again, I'm C.R. Hall. I'm the team lead. Daniel Bailey, Devetta Bradley, Pat Cincatelli, Sarah Fishett are all Ed associates with me. So we have split you guys up by size, location, specialties, all sorts of things. But we have a Ed associate contact list that's on our state webpage. Go to it if you don't know who you have. But these are the readers. So we will be reading. We look forward to reading starting April 30th. If you get them in a little earlier, that would be fantastic. Let me say that again. If y'all get it in a little earlier, that would be fantastic. But if not, it's okay. April 30th is the due date. And if you need anything in between, certainly reach out to your Ed associate. You can reach out to me. We are chit-chatting all the time. If you reach out to me and your Ed associate is Sarah, if I respond, or I may send the email to Sarah and go, hey, this is your person. Can you reach back out to them and answer that question? Because I really want you guys to have a professional relationship with your Ed associate, and I want myself and my team members to have a professional relationship with you guys. We're not taking names. We're not taking tick marks on the number of times you called or email us. We're here to help. We're here to help in any way we can. So with that being said, if you've got a initial plan coming up, I know one district's already called and asked for training this summer or possibly going into the fall. If you've got an initial plan coming up in the next year or two and you want us to come out and talk to your administrative staff, your principals about this whole process, we'll be glad to do it. We do like a good old road trip. We hate sitting in our little cubicles all day long. So anytime we can get out and see the state and find the best restaurant in town to have lunch, we're all game for it. So please reach out to us if you need our help.
And
At this point, we've
I've got
reached the end. But
got a
let's
couple
have
more
any more
questions.
questions. Yep.
Yes. So if I'm uploading my plan to ADT, do I upload my summer school sites and gyms? No, you will upload that in ADT as well. And if you're using our template, one upload template at the end, it includes that summer school sites for you. And then if you're not, you'll have a separate link of that. You'll still upload it into ADT. And then the last one so far is April 30th. Is the deadline correct? Yes, you are correct.
And if that's on a Saturday or Sunday, then it's the Friday before. And we didn't pick that date. That's in law.
Those are all the questions we have at this point.
All right. All right, well, that's going to be the end of our presentation. The team's going to hang back for a minute. I'm going to stop recording in just a second. And so if you've got any questions you want to ask us as we hang back for a few minutes, you certainly can. Thank you guys for coming to Town Hall. Thank you for working with me through the disaster of Teams. We will learn and not do Town Hall side again. We'll just do a Teams meeting and move on.